Welcome to Functional Skills Resources. Our aim is to save you time by giving you all the resources you need to teach functional skills in one location. If you become a subscriber to our site, you'll be able to access all of the resources contained within the website. I'd like to give you a demonstration of some of the resources we have available at the moment. There are about 140 resources uploaded currently, and we're uploading more every week. So I'll first go into some of the maths resources. At the moment we have some how-to guides, some activities and some PowerPoints. The how-to guides are our most popular product because they're something that can be used by students individually if they're studying on their own, or they can be used in class alongside the PowerPoints. The resources are structured by level. So first of all, you can see the entry level 2 resources. You'll see the topic of the resource, such as whole numbers, and a short explanation of what's contained within the guide. At the moment, we have a few entry-level resources. I'll give you a demonstration of rounding. So if you click on the Download How-To Guide, you'll get a PDF file that you can save or print yourself. All the guides follow the same format so that you have a nice clear structure that you can use with your students. At the beginning of each guide is a skills check, a short introduction, and then each page generally has some explanations in boxes and a demonstration or example of how to do the particular topic. So in this case, how to round to the nearest 10. After that, there are try it out questions so that students can try out their new knowledge. In this case, we have a few different types, such as matching arrows, as well as short answer questions. Alongside each guide, we always include an answer sheet. The answer sheet should be clear to follow, and although at entry 2 we wouldn't expect learners to follow along with an answer sheet, it is generally structured in a very simple way so that people can check their own answers if they wish to. And usually there's an explanation to go with the answers if that's necessary for that particular question. So those are our entry 2 resources. You can see our entry level 3 here. And again, very similar topics, things like linear sequences, which is quite new, part of the new reform. Metric, time, all the things you'd expect to see. We then move on to level 1. So we have some new topics such as negative numbers and BIDMAS and bearings. Then we go on to level 2. We have, I believe, the full range of level 2 uploaded already. So if I just give you a quick demonstration of a BIDMAS resource, you can see it looks the same as the entry 2 in terms of style. It starts off with the skills check again, so that's quite nice for things like inspections or Ofsted, so that students can show their own progress and teachers can also have a look. We again have the introduction, some explanations, examples, and then try it out questions. So students can work independently following the examples, or they can work alongside a teacher explanation on the board and just use the examples here for additional knowledge. And at the end we have some mixed questions so they can test out their skills. So these are all the topics that we have currently for level 2. I believe it's covering the full range there, so things around measures, and then towards the end things around data probability. So those are all of the examples of the how-to guides we have currently, and we're always adding more guides as time goes on. I'll now show you the activities we have available. So activities are sometimes group activities that you can do with a class, and sometimes just something a bit more fun that an individual can do. With the explanations, it will tell you the type of activity. So here for entry level, there's a physical activity where students will work in pairs doing some measuring. The next one is a sorting activity, so they will sort cards with celebrity heights on into order. Again, they're structured by level, but this time we have some activities that might be a bit more general for entry level rather than being specific to one particular level. We have some more physical ones, some ordering activities, some loop cards. So I'll just give you an example of the loop cards there. With many of our activities, we always have a tutor page first, explains the purpose, the prior preparation the tutor will need to do and anything specific they might need, a suggested group size, an explanation of the task, and then it tells you that generally there are answers included if that's relevant. So here are the cards you'd cut out as a loop and then you'd put them together, matching your answers with the questions. So these are of course on the topic of time. So we have our entry level, we have our mixed level 1 and 2, and then some specific level 1 activities and some specific level 2. So we also have things like a code breaker, which are a little bit more difficult than entry level, and some other sorting statements, and then sometimes just a worksheet. So those are the current activities we have for maths, and we've just started adding a few PowerPoints that will go alongside those how-to guides. So you don't have to use them together, you can use the PowerPoints and the guide separately, but they do work well together. For longer topics, we have 2 parts. And that's just so if you have a longer session or people are struggling, you can use the full PowerPoint. If you want to, of course, you can adapt yourself the materials and just chop out the slides you don't need. If we click on our fractions PowerPoint here, this will actually download as a PowerPoint file, not a PDF. So you will need to open that separately. And then once you open it, you'll see obviously standard slides. At the bottom, do make sure you've got the notes view because sometimes either answers or suggested questions are contained within the section at the bottom here. So each one has aims, objectives, and then some questions that you can ask your students, sort of prompt questions that would go along, and it goes alongside some of the examples that you might see within your how-to guide. And there's lots of try it out questions as well, so students can try out their new knowledge. So those are some of the PowerPoints we have available so far, and of course we are adding more all the time. Just want to show you some of the English resources. So we don't have English PowerPoints at the moment, they are one of the things we're working on. So with our how-to guides for English, it follows exactly the same format as maths. You see your entry-level resources first, and we do have both reading and writing resources being created. So you'll have exactly the same format in your how-to guides and the answers. So we have things like alphabetical order, sentences, spelling, punctuation, and then we have all of the topics for level 2 are currently uploaded. So we have everything for writing around planning, paragraphing, sentences, apostrophes, commas, spelling, and then each of the types of text you might write has its own guide. So if I show you the one for writing letters, again this will open as a PDF. It has the same structure as the maths with that skills check at the beginning. It has some information for you to read, some examples and some try it out short questions to start with, just to keep them engaged as they're reading. And then towards the end of each one, you'll see an example question, an example answer that shows them where an examiner would allocate the marks. So how could you get good marks on this particular piece? And then there's at least 3 questions for them to try out their own letter writing. So try out the sample one and then 2 additional letter writing tasks to try. Again, this comes with a full mark scheme which is a little bit different from some mark schemes because we want to give something that students could use themselves if they wish to, but also a guide for tutors. So one of our special features we have is that you either tick or shade in the box that fits best how you or your student has managed that task. So for example, in letter writing, are there 2 addresses? Yes. 1 address, no addresses. And as you go through, if you have lots of box A, it means you're doing really well. Box B means you're doing quite well, need a bit more support. And box C means you're really struggling. So it's just a slightly different way of marking, but it's very useful if you have students that want to mark themselves, or even if they want to help peers mark their own work. So we have all of the different types of text for writing, and then we have the reading topics such as language devices, locating information, purpose of text, and comparing information. So all of those have the guide and the answers. Finally, for English, we have the activities, and so far we have a few different ones uploaded. Some for entry level around alphabetical order, spelling and punctuation. And again, it tells you what type of activity they are. This one, you've got a quiz here, we've got a reading text, we've got to spot the mistakes, another quiz. So again, some are for individuals, some are for groups. And then for level 1 and level 2, we have some sorting, some worksheets, a crossword, some spelling tests, and another worksheet. We've got some specific level 1 activities and some specific level 2 activities, including a practice reading task. As with everything else, we are adding more and more activities as we go along. And the final thing you have access to as part of your membership is the life skills section. So these can be used in functional skills classes to make them more relevant to real life, or they could be used in other areas of the course to show how maths and English fit in. So we have some that are more maths focused, such as renting a property and going to the gym, where we look at things like time, money, percentages, ratios. And we have others that are more English focused, such as one around a fun run with persuasive writing, and others that have a bit of everything. So this one's around going to the dentist. It has skills about percentages, drawing charts, writing letters, proofreading. And again, we're adding more life skills as we go along. So those are all the things you have access to as part of your Functional Skills membership. If you haven't already looked at our free resources, you can view free samples by clicking here on the home page or using our menu at the top. You can have a go at those free samples with your students and see how you get on. Once you've become a member, you can also tell us about the resources you would like to see in the future, and we can put those on our priority list. As you can see, we have different types of memberships available. We have individual, so if you're a single teacher and you just want to use the resources yourself, you can buy the individual. And if you have an organisation with more than perhaps 2 or 3 people that teach functional skills, then it makes more sense to buy the organisation level, and you can have up to 25 people using this. So even if you don't have specific functional skills tutors, you have vocational tutors, they can also access and download the resources for themselves. If you have any questions, please use our contact us form, and you can give any requests or ask us anything about our resources or our pricing. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful, and I hope to see you as a subscriber soon.